All right, let's turn our attention now on to working with text inside Dreamweaver and, of course, inside the layout that you and I have developed here. Now, what I can do is I can type text directly into Dreamweaver if I wanted to. Dreamweaver has that ability, of course. That's no big deal. So, for example, I'm going to be working inside this main content area here. So this, remember this dummy text that we got here? You can actually just swipe right over top of that. Just click and drag right over top of that there and whack the delete key on your keyboard to toast it there. And then, of course, we can begin typing directly into Dreamweaver. No big deal, right? Now, that's all fine and well. That's great. But normally myself, the text content that is going to be a part of my website is usually created somewhere else. Usually it's created in a word processing application, like maybe OpenOffice Writer, or maybe in Microsoft Word, or maybe in TextEdit or Notepad or something like that. And, you know, it's all spell checked and everything. It's all ready to roll. And then usually what I do is I just select it all, copy it, and then paste it into the Dreamweaver layout, right? So that's what I'm going to do here with you. So what I'm going to do is this extra text that I typed in here, I'm just going to get rid of that. So we have nothing inside our main content div there. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to head over to my files panel over on the right-hand side. And what I did is I threw in an extra file that you'll see inside the files panel now called text.txt. And I can actually double click on this guy just like an HTML file inside the files panel and have them open up inside Dreamweaver, which is great. So this is our sample text that we're going to use inside our layout. So what I'd like you to do is select all of the text by hitting Command-A here on the Mac or Control-A if you're on the PC side, and then copy it, Command-C or Control-C, and then close the file, Command-W or Control-W, and then just make sure your cursor is dropped inside your main content div, and then fire away. Go ahead and paste Command-V or Control-V, and there's our text. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. Now, a couple of quick things here. First of all, notice that our layout breaks, right? The text spills outside of the main content container, right? So we're going to fix that in just a moment. But notice also that the footer is automatically pushed down the page, vertically down the page, based on the amount of content that precedes it, right? Pretty cool. Okay, so let's try and fix our main content area here. Now, the problem here is that you and I, in the previous exercises, had specified a height on this guy. We said that we wanted the main content container to be exactly 300 pixels, right? So all this gray div is doing is exactly what we told it to do. It's being exactly 300 pixels in height, even if it contains more content, right, than the 300 pixels can contain. So how do we fix that? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over to either code view or split view would be fine here. I'm going to go over to code view, and I'm just going to scroll up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for my content CSS rule towards the top of my document, right? And of course, there we see the background color and the float and the height and the width and so on. What I'd like you to do is look for that line that has the height specification in it there, height 300 pixels. Select that entire line and get rid of it. Delete it right out, just like that, okay? So in other words, what we're saying is we are not forcing the height on that div. Back over to design view, and now what happens is the div, that main div container there, simply expands vertically to accommodate the extra text that you and I have added into our layout, if that makes sense. Okay, perfect. There you go. So I hope that's working for you. Now, a couple of other very quick things here, just related to working with text inside Dreamweaver. I mentioned that 9 times out of 10, I'm pasting in content from other applications, and before I do so, that text is all ready to go. It's been spell checked and all the rest of it. Usually I don't have any formatting inside the text. I do all my formatting inside Dreamweaver. But Dreamweaver does have a spell check command if you need it. And for whatever reason, he's buried underneath the commands menu, which is kind of a bizarre spot. But anyway, commands and then check spelling. And, you know, there was actually two other things I wanted to mention here as well related to working with text. We also have underneath the edit menu, we have find and replace. So again, related to working with text. Now, the find and replace in Dreamweaver works exactly the same as a find and replace in any other application, and then some. You can do some really cool things with find and replace, and I'm not sure that we're going to have enough time to get into it, but just wanted to mention at least that this is where you can find that command. All right, the last thing I want to mention here, and this is kind of related to adding in text into your document, is adding a title for your page. Now, right up on my toolbar, I have a title field, and my document right now reads untitled document. Now, you can throw in whatever name you want there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in the name of my fictitious company here, Laugh Along Company, or The Laugh Along Company, I should say. There we go. And I think I have a hyphen between the two. Anyway, something like that, right? So you just type it in there. It's no big deal. And then what I'll do is I'll save my page up here, and I'll just flip back over to my browser and refresh Command-R or Control-R, and there we go. There's our text getting added into that main content area. Still lots of work to do there. We'll get to all that. And then notice along the tab, the web tab or the browser tab, the Laugh Along Company. That's where the title shows up. If you're on the PC side, you might see it in the top center of your screen, depending on the browser that you're working on. So there you go. There's adding in text into your documents, adjusting the height of that div, smattering of extra other commands in there as well, including adding in a page title.